Welcome back to Thailand on a late afternoon cloudy day, but we set a new record for power with this big spike in the afternoon. Clouds, sun, clouds again, 801. But that's not why we're here. We're here because my network attached storage box is failing. So what do? We buy new stuff. So the story is my QNAP NAS, Network Attached Storage Device, or NAS or NAS. I'm just going to call it NAS because it saves a bunch of time. My QNAP NAS box has been just getting very tired to the point where I have to reboot it usually every morning or every couple of mornings, or all my Windows boxes lose access to the Windows network share on that drive through the Samba system. It's not the actual hard disks inside. They're set up in a RAID 5, and the smart analysis of every drive says they're perfect. It's just the box itself. It's either there's a hardware failure or their firmware is bad, and I've applied every layer of new firmware that comes out, which is pretty often. I'm thinking once every 2 weeks they tell me there's a new version of firmware available, and I update it, perhaps to not my benefit. But the fact is, I cannot count on that box being active and working properly 24/7, especially if I'm working on something and all of a sudden the Samba decides that it doesn't want to do anything more. I've got a file that's potentially in danger. So it's time for a new box. I switched away from QNAP to Synology because they're not QNAP, and I've got another Synology box that was lent to my condo to hold all of the files for the condo website, and it's been working perfectly. So then I have to decide, what am I going to populate this box with? So I decided to move up from 2 terabyte drives times 4 to 4 terabyte drives times 4, and I went with the Seagate Iron Wolf NAS. Can you see that? I'll bring it closer. Seagate Iron Wolf NAS 4 terabyte. Now I went with Seagate because I had Western Digital Red NAS before, but I was looking at the reviews of their new 4 terabyte drive, and they're awful. The NAS community is shitting all over that drive. They do not like it because it uses something called stepped something. The way that the recording is done is not good actually in a NAS environment. It would be fine in a Windows tower that you're just using to use your job, but it's not good in a network attached storage box where the drives are getting beat on 24/7. So I went with the Seagate. These are very highly reviewed, and I had them in my hand in 2 days from a Lazada seller in Bangkok. So here they are. There's 4. Just waiting for the box to come. That should hopefully be in two more days. And I ordered the 918 Plus model, but the seller actually physically called me on the phone, and he said he doesn't have any 918 Pluses, but he'll substitute a 920 Plus for the same price. I said, sounds good to me. So it's on the way. We'll put this all together and copy over my life's work when it arrives. And welcome to Sunday morning, and my Synology network attached storage box has arrived. Kind of strange packaging situation with bubble wrap on the outside of the box. Is that to protect the cardboard? I don't know. But this is not the original vendor from Lazada. You heard part of the story at the end of the last clip. The original vendor showed they had 918 Plus stock on their website, the Synology 918 Plus. They lied. they called me to say, oh, we don't have any stock in that. Do you want a 920 plus for the same price? I said, yes, okay. And I was expecting a shipping notice that day, the next day, nothing. I messaged them on the Lazada platform, and they said, oh, we're waiting for our shipment to arrive. As soon as it arrives, we will send it to you. I'm like, are you kidding me? 2 things that you said you had in stock, but you didn't have it in stock, and now I'm stuck waiting for you. So a couple of days later, I get a notification from Lazada that my order was canceled, and I just hit the roof with this seller. What the flaming frack is up with you guys? Anyway, so I went back on Lazada. I found a 920 plus. I found 3 vendors with the best price. I messaged them all. I said, do you have this unit in stock? 2 of them came back instantly at 9 o'clock at night and said, yes, we've got it in stock. I ended up going with this company because they say they are an actual NAS consultancy. They have tremendous stock of all these things. They're working for companies all over Bangkok. And they put it into shipping the next day. And this is Sunday morning. It arrives. Okay, I see this is the actual box that the product comes in. So they didn't bother putting this box into another box, which makes sense to me. Also, I forgot to mention, this is 2,000 baht cheaper than the original 918 that I ordered. So the first company who said they were doing me a favor by giving me a 912 for the same price was actually screwing me for 2,000 baht. But anyway, so this is an interesting packaging strategy. Probably some cables, some more cables. Some more. Oh, that's the top of the box, and there's the box. Okay, let me get it out and set everything up. Okay, here's everything. Comes with the server with 4 slots. The carrier is screwless. It has this little snap-in plastic tab that holds the drive in place, which is nice. 100-watt DC power brick, 2 Ethernet cables, some screws, I suppose, if you really do want to screw your drive in, and this little handy key that prevents the drives being taken out by accident. Little plastic key. So that's pretty cool. It also has 2 M.2 SSD ports on the bottom, which are for performance. But I want dead solid reliability as my goal and not raw performance, so I'm not going to bother with that. Well, that was easy. It took me all of 2 minutes to get the drives installed in the carrier and in. Those little clip strips are very, very convenient. Don't even have to use the screws or a tool. Right, let's get her into place and hooked up into the network. Okay. So it's now taken the last port in my gigabit switch, and it's also wired into the uninterruptible power supply. And this is actually good cable management back here. This is not a mess. I know exactly what everything does, and everything is neatly zip tied into little bundles everywhere. So no complaints. Okay, and it has powered up nicely in my little NAS farm here. This is the condo Synology server, the new one, and that's the dying QNAP right there. I'm going to very gently set this up in RAID 5 and then very gently copy the files over here. Okay, now that the box is powered up, you start your browser and go to find.synology.com, and their web page scans your network to find the Synology NAS devices, and there we are. It was found at .192 on my network. That's exactly right. And what's this? And it found the other one. It found the condo one. That one's already set up, so I'm not going to mess with that. We're going to connect to the new box. Yes, you can have all my children. I'm fine with privacy that I'm giving away. And now we're going into the setup system of the box. We're going to install Disk Station Manager, which is the main control program that runs the box. And now it's downloading the latest version of DiskStation Manager, and I'm going to skip forward in time, and so we don't have to bother you until this is completed. And as with any network device these days, you get to set up an administrator account on the box so that you can log in and manage it later. Next, you can set up Quick Connect, which is a way for you to access all your files through the internet. You can set it up as a new account or link it to an existing account. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and link it here. And it gives you the link, the web link to use to access your files. And we're going to share me on the network. That's fine. Yes, you can update yourself. I'm happy with that. Yes, you can collect device analytics to help make the product better. I acknowledge that. And we're in. And it's giving me a little tour to tell me all the things, but I already know about this because it's exactly the same as the Condo server look and feel. Now it's time to set up the drives. So we go into Storage Manager, and I see I've got my 4 unused drives. I have no volumes, I have no storage pool, but I do have 4 drives which have been basically initialized just by plugging them in. So I have to create a storage pool, and I'm going with performance is good, description is fine, and we're going to stick with RAID 5 because that's exactly what I want. Yes, go ahead, overwrite my drives, take my drives please, and apply. Now we have a storage pool, but I need to create a volume out of that storage pool, and in the background it's doing the RAID 5 thing. It's setting up the drives for RAID 5. So we go in and we create a volume. I'm going to choose the custom one because I want to create it on the existing storage pool, which is the only one. And we're going here, and I'm going to change to the ext4 Linux operating system because that's good. We'll give our storage pool a description, and we apply. And now I have a volume. And now I get to go take a nap until it's done initializing the RAID 5. And 11 hours later, it is done with the RAID 5 initialization. Now I need to figure out how to make a shared Windows drive. And to do that, we go into the shared folder section of the control panel. I've already installed the Plex Media Server, and it made its own shared folder, but I'm going to create a new one for my files, give it a name, and that's the network name. Don't want to encrypt anything, don't need any advanced settings. Confirm, apply, apply, apply. And I double check my read-write access, and now I have something called file storage on my local network. So let's do my first copy. On the left I have the existing QNAP, on the right I have the new Synology. I'll drag a small folder over with my ebooks, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, it's copying, speed is increasing, that's good, 30 megabytes per second, 40, 30, and we're going down. Okay, and we're coming back up again. So this is going to be a learning experience about how this system now can copy from one to the other. So now I'm going to copy over the rest of the almost 4 terabytes worth of data. And what I found was that on big files, that the Synology, even in RAID 5 mode, can receive a fully saturated gigabit network. I was seeing file copies of 100 megabytes per second, which with a little bit of network overhead is 1 gigabit per second, which is fantastic that the hardware can write in RAID 5 mode and split the data across the 4 drives with the error checking. It's fantastic. Although I did have to stop a few times and reboot the QNAP because it just went to sleep and stopped copying files, even in read mode. So I ended up copying multiple directories one at a time. My major directories, I copied them over and made sure everything came over in the end. But now I am now up and running on the new Synology box, and it's just wonderful. Okay, let's do a very unscientific test of read speed. We'll just have Windows list all the files on the old server and the new one. The old one's on the top, the new one's on the bottom, and I've got a stopwatch. And we'll see how long it takes for each of the servers to come up with the full list of files. So the Synology server completed in 19 minutes and 17 seconds to read 767,511 files across 130,000 folders. The QNAP server is not anywhere near that. Let's see how that turns out. And the QNAP just finished in 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 4 seconds. Just doing reads, reading file names and directories. If that's not a sick server, I don't know what is. It's not the hard disks. The smart says it's fine. It's something in the firmware, or it's something in the server hardware itself. I just did a clean reboot of the QNAP before I started this test. So I'd be curious, put down the doodly-doo, tell me what you think is wrong, if it's salvageable or not. I'm going to keep it on the network just as a quadruple backup for all my files. But I think we can see that this is not a healthy box, and I think I got the new one just in time. All right. Hope this was informative for anybody planning on having a NAS or maintaining one on their network. Catch you next time. Hey, if you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like my other content, I'd appreciate a subscribe. Take care and see you next time.